Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the session. Today, we would be talking about B cell and T cell receptors. That means the receptors that are present onto the surface of B cells and T cells. So, the main learning objective is you will be getting to understand the structural features, structural differences between B cell receptor and T cell receptor. What are their types? What are their pathways in which they work upon? And if in case there is some deficiency or receptors are not being expressed, how they are associated with different kind of diseases. So starting with the B cell receptor. Now, as the name suggests, B cell receptor. That means this receptor is present onto the surface of B cell. Basically, it is consisting of an antigen binding transmembrane immunoglobulin, which we call it as MIG. Why we call it as MIG? M stands for membrane, IG stands for immunoglobulin. Because this is the surface, this is the membrane. Onto this membrane bound IgM is present. Mostly onto the surface of B cell receptor, IgM antibody in monomeric form is present as receptor. That means it is an antigen binding transmembrane immunoglobulin that is present in complex with two transmembrane polypeptides, that is Ig alpha and Ig beta, as you can see here. Ig alpha, Ig beta, that basically contains these ITAM receptors. These are immunoreceptor tyrosine activation motifs that basically help in the intracellular signaling. So this is the complete structure in which monomeric IgM is placed, and along with that Ig alpha and Ig beta is placed. So the basic structure, if you talk about it, that means there is one monomer of immunoglobulin. That immunoglobulin is IgM, of which it will be having light chain and heavy chain, similar to that of our basic immunoglobulin structure, as you can see here. This is the heavy chain, this is the light chain, this is the immunogenic protein that is being attached or that is being recognized by this very thing. So the light chain can be of lambda and kappa type, and heavy chain can be of 5 types. Variable part and constant parts, there are two parts of the these light chain and heavy chain. These are the variable one, these are the constant one. Along with that, these are Ig alpha and Ig beta region, onto which ITAM is present here, that is the binding site for intracellular signal. Now, as I am talking that there is some transmembrane binding immunoglobulin, so first of all we need to understand which one. No doubt I have told you that IgM is present. Can there be any other subtype? What are their types actually? First of all, what are the different types of immunoglobulin? There are 5 types: IgM, IgE, IgD, IgA, and IgG. Out of which IgG is the most abundant antibodies that are produced in the largest number. They are even present in the largest concentration inside the, you can say, inside our fluid. Second is IgA, that is a dimeric antibody. It is present in the second dominant form inside the serum and our secretions, for example, tears, saliva, mucosal secretions, gastrointestinal tract secretions, respiratory tract secretions. Then is IgE. IgE is the mediator of common allergic reactions. We know about it. However, there is no role of it in present onto the surface of B cell. But IgM is the antibody that acts as a B cell surface receptor for antigen attachment, because it is only secreted early in the immune response. Whenever some infection is there, in that case, in primary response, there is always IgM antibody that dominates. That is why onto the surface of B cell, IgM antibody is present as a receptor. However, it is very effective in killing the bacteria also. Last one is IgD. Sometimes this antibody is also present onto the surface of B cells. However, its function is unknown, but it may play a role in the activation of B cell because it is being expressed onto the surface of B cell. So, in nutshell, we can say onto the surface of B cell, IgM in the monomeric form act as a receptor, and in some cases, IgD antibody or IgD immunoglobulin can also be present. These are the differences between them, between all of these antibodies: IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG, IgM. These are their heavy and light chain, serum concentration, their structural features. We have discussed all these things in our previous lectures also. Like IgA, it is exists in monomeric and dimeric form. It is present in the mucosal secretion because it provides the neonatal immunity to the infant. IgD, it is act as naive B cell receptor in certain cases. IgE, it is again a monomer, but it is produced in the hypersensitivity reactions or allergic reactions. IgG, this is the most prevalent form of immunoglobulin. It acts as opsonin also. It helps in the activation of complement protein also. Again, it is a monomeric structure, and basically it also take a very important role in the ADCC mechanism also. Then is our IgM, that is a pentameric immunoglobulin. It is the largest of all types of immunoglobulin, and it is present as membrane bound receptor onto the surface of B cell. Now, there are certain adapter molecules also. If you talk about B cell receptor, these adapter molecules, they basically help in modulating the signal transduction, because once the antigen is recognized by B cell with the help of B cell receptor, then a signal is given inside for the processing. For that, certain adapter molecules play a very important role. So, what can be the adapter molecules? What are those? The adapter molecules are normally referred to as certain proteins that have some protein or protein lipid interaction domain, but they do not express any enzymatic activity. Example is SRC homology 2, 3 domains, and BLN, CK, BCAP, JAB, PAC, LAT. These all are proteotypical adapter proteins. They are proteinaceous in nature, but they are not enzymatic in nature. However, some of the enzymes, they are also considered to act as adapter proteins, because they have some additional domain despite of binding with the protein or lipid. For this, the example is SRC family tyrosine kinase, in which LYN has one NSH2, SH2 domain, SH3 domain. That is basically an enzymatic domain. That is why they sometimes have some proteolytic activity also. These are the examples of structures of adaptive molecules that we have just discussed: BLNNK, BCAP, JAP, PAC, LAT. These are what? These are proteinaceous adaptive proteins, but they are not enzymatic. However, these protein tyrosine kinase, LYN, BTK, CSK, they have SH3 domains which have additional SH3 domain which have enzymatic action. That is why some enzymes can also act as adaptive molecules. So, when you talk about B cell receptors, despite of this B cell receptor, there are some additional co-receptors also. For example, suppose this is the microbe. This microbe is first of all bind with C3D. C3D, it is a complement protein. Because of that, complement activation is happening. After that, this bind microbe with C3D, it would be recognized by complement receptor 2. This is the complement receptor 2, this one. The ligand binding to this CR2 with complement receptor 2, it will lead to phosphorylation of this CD19. This CD19, once it is phosphorylated, it will bind to the protein SRC kinases and P13K. Because of this, the meeting of the CR2, CD19, TAP1 of these B cell receptor, which is basically activating the tyrosine kinase associated with the two, get phosphorylated, it will activate this B cell. Along with that, the phosphoinositol 3 kinase enzyme, which will also increase and trigger the signaling mechanism. And because of the binding, this binding, the complete signal transduction is initiated. As you can see, this is the membrane bound IgM, this is the Ig alpha, Ig beta. These are the co-receptor molecules that basically help in triggering your response. Now, how this is happening? What is the pathway? First is cross-linking of membrane immunoglobulin by antigen. Here you can see this is the immunoglobulin, membrane immunoglobulin. This is Ig alpha, Ig beta. These are few adapter molecules onto the surface where ITAM is present. What is happening? First of all, antigen is being recognized. This will activate these ITAM. It will get phosphorylated by the family. As you can see, the P is written here. So it gets phosphorylated. Once it is phosphorylated by tyrosine kinase, the translocation of SYK from the cytoplasm to the membrane would be happening. And the RAS pathway would be activated, this pathway. Here you can see there are few adapter molecules BLK, LYN, FYN that are enzymatic in action. Here you can see also. So on one side it is activating the RAS pathway. Because of this, phospholipase C would be getting activated. This complex will basically this SYK phosphorylated will form a complex with this phospholipase C and will bring about more phosphorylation. So once this is activated, it will also activate phospholipase 2 hydrolysis by producing inositol phosphate 3 and dihydroxyacetone glycerol. And because of this, calcium mobilization will be happening, as you can see. RAS GTP is produced, ERK, JNK pathways activated. On the other hand, here you can see inositol triphosphate and diacyl glycerol is produced, which is basically activating protein kinase C and calcium dependent enzyme. So it will initiate the cascade and signaling would be triggered. So this is the biological effect of it. After the activation of this B cell with the help of this antigen, what is the biological effect? The B cells, the activated B cell will first of all proliferate. They will differentiate and then they will produce antibody because they will be differentiated into effector plasma cells as well as memory cells so that they can store the memory for future encounter. So this is the development of memory B cells, effector B cells in the germinal center. This is the naive B cell, as you can see. This is the germinal center. From here the memory B cell is created and here the plasma cell producing particular kind of antibodies. Here there are two ways in which short-lived plasma cells in the lymphoid tissues produce, which will be producing IgM first, and long-lived plasma cells would be secreting IgG, A and E, that is in the bone marrow. Now there is a disease named as chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Basically, it is a blood cancer of B cells manifesting too many B cells becomes abnormal lymphocyte leukemia cells. What happens in this case? In the case of normal B lymphocyte, they receive a signal from the B cell receptor that are triggered by binding of PCR to the external antigen. Once they have received, they get activated. On the other hand, in case of CLL, that is chronic lymphocytic leukemia, tonic signaling through the BCR will provide growth and signals to chronic lymphocytic leukemia cells. And they basically play a very important role in the pathogenesis and progression of the disease. Because the complete antigen engagement of this BCR, it is further followed by some cascade of this intracellular signaling. BCR associated kinase play a role, spleen tyrosine kinase, that is SYK, Bruton's tyrosine K, that is BTK, phosphatidyl inositol 3 kinase, PI3K enzymes, they all play a very important role in triggering the action. So what is the treatment of this disease? There are now many compounds available that act as a B cell receptor pathway inhibitor that can interfere with the various proteins that are involved in this signal transcription pathway. And they can block the signal and tell the CLL cells to grow and divide uncontrollably. However, this therapy is being employed as to stop the cancer progression and to preserve the healthy cells. There are few compounds which are, you can say, this is a class of antibody, ibrutinib, which is inhibitor of BTK, and this one is inhibitor of SYK. This is the first in class of oral therapy because this agent will basically inhibit the B cell receptor signaling complex. That is why it plays a very important role in the survival of malignant B cell. It is one of the first medicines that doctor prescribed to, that we normally follow that have provided a hope to the patient who are suffering from this CLL disease. Next is T cell receptor. Now B cell receptor, it is clear for everyone. Now the point is, what are T cell receptor? First of all, few fundamentals. If you are talking about T cell receptor, that means it is present onto the surface of T cells. T cell is having T cell receptors. One T cell will have one type of TCR. One cell has one TCR with a whole unique specificity. That means the receptor is specific or it is unique. However, there may be possibility one particular type of T cell have many identical TCRs also. Now, what is the structure that is present onto the T cell of this T cell receptor? A T cell receptor is a heterodimer. Now, the point is, what is heterodimer? Heterodimer is a molecule that is made up of from two different protamers. Protamers means protein chains. These heterodimers can be either alpha beta, that means one chain can be alpha, another chain can be beta, or it can be gamma delta, that means one chain can be gamma and another can be delta. So there are two types of cell we know about it, T helper, T cytotoxic. So the question is, can they have the same TCR? Yes, the answer is yes. But the point is, if they have the same TCR, how can we distinguish between them? That which one is a T helper cell, which one is a cytotoxic T cell? And basically, the answer to this, it lies in the genetic arrangements. Because this, the in the previous statement, the most important word is the genetic mechanism for having one heterodimer and excluding the other. That is why we are able to differentiate depending upon this alpha, beta, and gamma delta receptors. Now the point is, what is the function of these receptors? There are two things that T cell receptors do. First, they respond to MHC. Second, they respond to antigen. Because the antigen is presented by MHC molecule, they are expressed by MHC molecule onto the surface of T cell. So onto the surface of antigen presenting cell. Sorry. So more exactly, they see one histotope and many type of processed antigens can be recognized by different T cell receptors. However, there is some constancy. We need to be careful here because there is huge amount of variety in case of antigens also. In that case, in order to select that very particular one, a genetic mechanism is needed, a genetic rearrangement mechanism is needed. Because till now we have talked about hypothetical things, theoretical things. Now we shall directly dig into the structural part. So this is the structure of B cell receptor I have just discussed. That is, it is B cell MIGM, in which there is a monomeric unit of IgM antibody, as you can see. Here, variable region is there, constant region is there, heavy chain, light chain. And as you can see, it is bivalent also. It can attach, there are two sides to it. However, in the case of T cell receptor, it is not very pretty because it is alpha beta T cell receptor. It is a heterodimer. There is This is alpha chain, this is beta chain. There are disulfide bonds that are present interchain and intrachain also. There is one transmembrane region and cytoplasmic domain. But this complete structure, it is quite informative that what is being said. Consider all the symbolic notions that I have mentioned here. Here you can see the IgG is bivalent. As you can see, this is bivalent in nature. But the TCR is monovalent. There is only one binding site. There are lots of immunoglobulin fold domains present. Variable component is there, constant component is there, transmembrane component is there, cytoplasmic component is there. So all of these things, why they are so complicated? These complicated gene products are arising from where? Why it is alpha, beta, and gamma, delta? What is the genetic organization of these loci who is basically triggering it? This is the genetic organization. As you talked, we have also discussed this thing also. This is in the case of mouse, in case of alpha chain and delta chain, because alpha chain variable and constant regions. That means the alpha gene that is responsible for coding any immunoglobulin that is present in such format. As you can see, this is the variable alpha region. This is variable delta region. This complete thing is of variable delta region. I have marked it. This one is J alpha and C alpha. And this is for mouse, in case of mouse TCR beta chain DNA. This is for gamma chain DNA. Here these green circles are basically showing enhancer molecules who is increasing the expression. Now the point is, let's look at the protein again. Two views would be very informative. First that is seen by us is this. That is, this is basically IgM B cell and this is T cell. Now the point is, when the T cell receptor is being expressed onto the surface of T cell, these chains alpha and beta, it's something look like this. As you can see, B alpha, J alpha, C alpha. Here it is B beta, D beta, J beta, and C beta. Now the point is, when we, in the previous slide, when we see the picture, in that case, alpha and delta chain, they were present on the single locus. So in that case, the delta chain, why it is not expressing, why the alpha chain is being, expressed in vicinity with beta chain? The reason is Let's take up a look. This is the germline alpha chain DNA. This is the alpha region, variable region of alpha, and this is the complete delta region. This one. And this is the J region and constant region of alpha. I have marked it as alpha and this is delta. Now the point is, when due to the genetic arrangement this chain is getting rearranged, at that time what is happening, because there is a mechanism that if the variable region of alpha chain is selected, the downstream cassette it would get deleted. That means delta chain would get deleted. Variable, diversity, J and constant regions of delta chain would be excluded, and this variable alpha region would rearrange with the J alpha region and C alpha region. Now as you can see, this is the V alpha, V alpha 2, V alpha, it is joined together with the J alpha and C alpha. So this is the rearranged one. So when it is being expressed onto the C cell, onto the surface of alpha, it is V alpha, J alpha and C alpha. Now the point is why the beta chain is coming. Now here you can see this is the germ line beta chain DNA, variable region, beta region. Now the point is variable region beta and gamma, they are being expressed onto the different chromosomes. So there is no possibility of deletion or insertion. So the beta chain is arranged in such a manner that this diversity region, first of all variable region will be combining with the diversity region, followed by the J region, joining region, and then with the constant region. So the final structure will look like something like this. So let's look up at this image, and now you again think about it, that how we basically did this thing, because as you can see this delta region was deleted when alpha chain was being expressed, because both of these DNA are expressed onto the chromosome number 14. But in the case of TCR beta chain, it is present on chromosome number 6, and gamma it is present on chromosome number 13. That is why when the alpha chain is selected, it is associating with beta chain, and when the delta region is being selected, at that time this alpha chain is not selected and it will associate with gamma region. Now there are two genetic problems here. Why and how these alpha, beta or gamma delta are being expressed. How the exclusion is happening. After a V cassette has been selected, that means variable region has been selected, the downstream cassettes are deleted, as I told you. If that are deleted, what about upstream cassettes? Whether they are selected, they are still there. Why they are not expressed? So all of these questions have been answered here, that once this is selected, at that time, once this is selected, at that time, delta would be deleted. But these things won't be deleted because the enhancer is present here that increase the expression of these diseases. Now again, the determinant for the delta chain in mouse stuck within the segment of alpha chain. As I told you, if an alpha V segment is fused with an alpha J segment, the delta cassettes are deleted, because if alpha is being expressed, delta won't be able to express. So in this case, whenever alpha chain is being expressing, it cannot express as alpha and delta. It will only express as alpha and it will fuse with the beta chain. However, in the case if the delta variable segment is fused with the delta J segment, then alpha cassettes are not expressed. They are not deleted, they are not expressed, because the enhancer is too far away from the variable alpha region. That is why the alpha chain are not expressed when delta region is selected. In that case, delta and gamma being expressed. So this is the complete embedded organization of this delta region within the alpha. That is the main reason that why alpha, beta and gamma delta receptors are being expressed. Now TCR DNA templates, whether for the alpha, beta, gamma, delta, they have nucleotide sequence similar to that of variable, diversity, joining and constant. And they are showing some connecting sequencing also, transmembrane. It is quite similar also, as you can see. There are, as you can see, this is the variable alpha, variable delta, it is combining with D delta and J alpha. Here I have shown these two colors to show one turn recombination signal and two turn recombination signal. Now the diversity, the TCR have some certain constant regions also, for example CDR1, CDR2, CDR3, and the variability in the CDR3 that comes basically due to the joining of these variable and J region joining, and variable diversity in joining region segments. And this is basically due to junctional flexibility, N vision, nucleotide addition, P nucleotide addition, combinatorial association. However, there is no somatic hypermutation operating in it. So having talked about alpha beta T cell receptor, next is gamma delta T cells. What is it all about? This gamma delta T cells, they are the prototype of unconventional T cells, and they are, present in a very small amount. They are a relatively small subsets of T cell in the peripheral blood. They are normally defined by the expression in the heterodimeric T cell receptors. They are composed of delta and gamma genes. However, these sets are completely different from the classical, much better known CD4 positive helper T cell and cytotoxic T helper cell that express the alpha beta TCR, because alpha beta TCR are being expressed by helper T cell as well as cytotoxic T cells. However, in the case of gamma delta TCR, they are being expressed onto the gamma delta T cell, as you can see here. The proportion is quite different, because in alpha beta TCR, 75% of T cells, they are expressing alpha beta TCR receptors. However, the 25% of cells are able to express gamma delta T cell TCR. That is why those cells are known as gamma delta T cells. During the T cell selection that is happening in the case of thymus also, at that time when the T cell passed through subcapsular region, cortex region, corticomedullary junction and medulla, at that time thymic selection, negative selection, thymic selection is being performed, and due to that these T cells basically being expressed, and they differ because of their tissue distribution, their structure of their antigen receptors that are present onto the surface, at what stage of immune response they would be mounted or they would get activated, because they are not conventional T cells. They are innate like or transitional T cells actually. They have immunoregulation and immunosurveillance roles. They work by functional programming. They have some specific tissue roles. They have mechanism of cellular sensing. They contribute in the inflammatory immune response also, because they show tissue specific localization of oligoclonal subpopulation sharing the same TCR chain. For example, human peripheral blood gamma delta T cells, they are largely V gamma 9, V delta 2. And if they are present onto the skin of murine, it is gamma delta T cells. They are known as dendritic epidermal T cell, that is DETC. They are largely, the count is different. Here you can see in this case, in case of humans, it is V gamma 9 and V delta 2. However, in case of murine, it is V gamma 5 and V delta 1. In general, these cells are enriched in epithelial and mucosal tissues. That means their localization is more in the areas where the mucosal surfaces are present or epithelial surfaces are present. However, they are found to be the first line of defense against pathogenic challenge, because their developmental programming, the functional programming of T cell substrates, they basically arise due to the restricted tissue location. Second, due to homogeneous TCR repertoire. And third is distinct functional properties. As you can see, this is the fetal precursor in the thymus. First of all, as you can see, V gamma 5, V delta 1. This is gamma delta TCR. At this side, the gamma chain and delta chains are different. Depending upon the different subtypes, the cells are being programmed in a different way. As you can see here also, it is being recognized by this. This is intrathymical functional programming. It is being expressing CCR10, CD122. Here it is being expressing NK1.1. Here it is being expressing in case of TGF beta cytokine if it is released. It is being released. It is present in the case of epidermis. If a gamma delta T cell expressing the gamma delta T cell receptor, if it is being present in the epidermal tissue, at that time, this would be the receptor. TBET, EVOMs, IL-22, interferon gamma, and TNF alpha would be the cytokines. If they are being expressed in liver and spleen, it would be different. They will be expressing interleukin 43 and interferon gamma. And if they are being expressed in the mucosal surfaces, for example, uterine, vaginal, tongue, and lung epithelia, at that time, these structures and these cytokines, they will differ. So the tropism of this gamma delta T cell to epithelial rich tissues is the most prevalent one. These are the Langerhans cells. And these are the dendritic epidermal T cells that I was talking about. That all the dendritic cells that are encapsulating the epidermal tissue, they are known as DETC. So they are expressing gamma delta T cell at that very time. In the skin, the intraepidermal mouse can recognize stressed keratinocytes. They contribute to the epithelial cell homeostasis. They produce many factors responsible for their regulation. They also, these dendritic epidermal cells, they get activated in case of some wound is happening. At that time, they activate TCR and they recruit the macrophages at the site so that the wound repair can happen. That means, in nutshell, you can say whenever some skin or tissue injury is there, in that case, the first T cells that are recruited there, that are gamma delta T cell expressing gamma delta T cell receptor. Now the restriction to certain subsets, as I told you, that they are restricted to different organs, and depending upon that, they express different types of markers also. So they impose cytotoxic activity also. They can kill infected, activated, or transformed cells. For example, in case of mouse, B gamma 7, B delta 4 T cell in the intestinal mucosa can induce the apoptosis. Why? They engage the death-inducing receptor, that is FAS and trailer. They can release toxic effector molecules. For example, enzymes perforin 10 enzymes. Perforin will create pores, and enzymes will induce a lytic activity. They are found in such kind of responses normally found in response to certain kind of microbes, for example, Listeria monocytogenes. So the recognition. Now, how the target cells are being recognized by this gamma delta T cell that is expressing a particular type of receptor. The majority of these cells, they get activated in a similar fashion, unlikely to that of the similar fashion imposed by other T cells. Because the T cells are activated depending upon the MHC molecule. However, these gamma delta T cells, they are activated in an MHC independent manner. However, in case of alpha beta T cell receptor that are being expressed onto the surface of helper cell and cytotoxic, they require MHC molecules that will present the antigen. However, in case of gamma delta T cells, this is not required because how they recognize the antigen, that is still under study. A small proportion of gamma delta T cells from isolated from urine, they will found that they can also bind to the MHC class 1 proteins, for example T10, T22, that are expressed on the highly activated cells. But the complete mechanism is still unknown, that how they are basically doing it. Because what is happening, these human V delta 9 and VD2 cells, they show TCR dependent activation also by certain phosphorylated metabolites such as microbial HMB-PP or eukaryotic isoprenoid precursor. In that case, what is happening actually, due to the metabolic dysregulation of this isoprenoid molecule, it is often accumulated by cancer cells. That means these cells would be accumulated, these molecules would be accumulated in the T cells. Now, when gamma delta T cells also recognize markers of cellular distress, resulting either from some kind of infection or due to some tumor formation. So, whenever these T cells, when they perform the stress surveillance, they are found to be dependent not only on their TCR but some other co-stimulatory signals also. For instance, NK type receptors, for example, NK1.1, CD1 molecule, CD1D receptors. So, these all receptors play a very important role. However, the gamma delta T cell also help in the cell mediated immune responses also, because they express functional plasticity, because they recognize the infected and transformed cells by the production of cytokines, for example, interferon gamma, tumor necrosis factor alpha, interleukin 17 in case of fungal infection, and chemokines also, RANTase, IP10, lymphotratin. All of these, because of that, the cytolysis of infected or transformed target cell is basically happening due to the many enzymes like perforin and gran enzymes. So these interaction, along with the interaction with other cells, including epithelial cells, monocytes, dendritic cells, neutrophils, B cells, they play a very important role in catering the infection and in catering the tumors also. In particular, if you talk about human gamma delta T cells that are of 9 and 2 subtypes, they are capable of serving as professional antigen presenting cells also, along with that of dendritic cells and natural killer cells. So this is a cell-mediated immune response, that what kind of receptors are being expressed. Because in case of certain infections, for example, human cytomegalovirus, that is CMV, they have been shown to derive the clonal expansion of peripheral gamma delta T cells during person-specific TCR that indicate the adaptive nature of this gamma delta T cell mediated immune response. As you can see, these are the few self ligands IPP, T10, T22. These are MHC associated proteins. These are NK2G reagent these are the receptors that are present onto the surface of natural killer cells. These are the non-self ligand, that is HMBPP, virus proteins, TLR ligand. The response is they will produce cytokines. They will be, produce some inflammatory molecules. They will help the B cells. Chemokines would be produced, epithelial growth factors would be produced, dendritic cell would be matured, cytotoxicity would be induced, wound healing would be induced, and antigen presentation, it also helps in the antigen presentation. So this is the difference between gamma delta and alpha beta. This is the TCR alpha beta that is cell bound, and this is the TCR gamma delta that is cell bound. This is the 3D structures. So basically what happens is how this rearrangement is happening, we have just discussed due to the certain genetic arrangements. As you can see, this is the double negative one cell, this is the double negative two cell. This is the basically the thymic evolution, that how this T cell basically developed. At that time, double negative 1, 2, 3, 4 cells are being produced. Double negative stage is being shown, in which alpha chain rearrangement and beta chain rearrangement is happening, due to which first of all beta chain is rearranged, then alpha chain is rearranged, and final alpha beta T cell receptor is being formed. These are the regions B, D, J. That D region is only present in case of beta chain and delta chain. However, in case of alpha chain and gamma chain, only BJ regions are present. So this is the combination: alpha chain segment, BJ recombination, transcription, alpha chain is being formed. Here the beta chain is being arranged, in which BJ recombination would be first happening, then BDJ recombination, and then the transcription and alpha beta T cell receptor is being expressed. This is the T cell express precursors that also express some Notch, and PEC express delta, because T cell double negative stage in subcapsular, depending upon the location and the thymus, they result in the formation of different type of T cells also. This is the basic thing, that in the double negative stage, how due to the genetic rearrangement, sometimes gamma delta T chains are also being formed in certain cases. This alpha beta T cell receptors, they are normally dominate in case of when the fetus is in the womb, and gamma delta T cell afterwards. Alpha beta TCR arrangement is more likely to happen inside the humans. However, gamma delta TCR arrangements are very less likely. Alpha beta T cell receptor bearing T cells are very high in number. However, gamma delta are quite low. They are more diverse in recognition of antigens alpha beta. However, they are less diverse. They can give response against certain specific kind of antigens also. So they can be distinguishable from lymphocyte lineages also. As you see, alpha beta, this is the comparative of these three: B cell receptor, alpha beta T cell receptor, and gamma delta T cell receptor. This is alpha beta, this is gamma delta, this is B cell. Now, what is the antigen receptor configuration? In case of alpha beta, it is CD3 complex plus alpha beta TCR. In case of gamma delta, CD3 complex with gamma delta. And in case of B cell, it is IgG, that is membrane bound IgG. Theoretical receptor number 10 is for 15, 10 is for 25, 10 is for 11. Antigen recognition, in case of alpha beta, it is peptide plus MSC, and in case of B cell, it can be protein and non-protein. However, in case of gamma delta T cell, they can be also protein and non-protein, because they recognize an MHC independent fashion. In case of alpha beta T cell, MHC restriction is there. In case of B cell, there is no MHC restriction, and in case of gamma delta, it is quite rare, because sometimes it may associate with certain, MHC associated protein like T10 or T20. So frequency in blood, most prevalent is alpha beta T cell, that is 65 to 75, followed by B cells, and then in a very rare amount in case of gamma delta. Distribution: alpha beta T cells are more prevalent in blood and lymphoid tissue. However, B cells are also prevalent in blood and lymphoid tissue. But gamma delta T cells are more localized in case of epithelial tissues, lymphoid tissues, and some peripheral blood. Effector capability in case of alpha beta T cells: CTLs, that are CD8 positive, because they release cytokines also. In case of B cell, they will release antibody, and in case of gamma delta T cell, again CTL and cytokine. Function: alpha beta T cells, they provide immune protection and pathogen is eliminated, and B cells, they play a role in humoral immunity by producing antibody. In case of gamma delta T cells, the main function is immune regulation and immune surveillance. So the gamma delta T cells, they express essentially invariant receptors, no nucleotides at all. Interaction between these gamma delta TCR and stress induced signals, they sometimes involve some rearranged germline motifs also. This is the sensing of cellular stress and infection by gamma delta T cells also. Inflammation, DNA damage, oncogenesis, and infection. This is the gamma delta T cell. This is the receptor NKG2D alpha delta gamma delta TCR. Toll-like receptor dectin-1. Here, this is the target cell. It is expressing certain PAMP and stress-induced NKR ligands and other thing. What is happening when it is being attached? The cytotoxic action is being imposed by this very receptor. Proliferation, cytokine, and immune regulation is being driven by this gamma delta T cell, and TLR's own association will produce certain cytokines. So gamma delta T cell, they can recognize separately, additively, or synergistically three sets of stress-induced stimuli, and they allow rapid induction of effector function following by tissue stress. These are the functional roles of different subtypes that we were talking about. Variable gamma 1, 4, 5, 6. These are the delta, that how they are being rearranged. This is mainly expressed in thymus and spleen. In the case of epidermis, V delta 5 and V gamma 5 and V delta 1 is being expressed. They sometimes suppress IgE responses, sometimes they promote AHR. So they have different role depending upon that. In case of early response, resident liver gamma delta T cells, they first of all get activated and they produce certain cytokines like interferon gamma and other pro-inflammatory cytokines. They activate natural killer cells and they help other granuloma cells, and they basically act as a linking between innate and adaptive immune responses. That is why we call it as they are innate like T cells. However, in case of late response, what is happening? This is in case of initial response, this is in case of late response. The lymphoid gamma delta T cells, they will respond because the memory is created. Because in the starting response, resident, that is liver delta T cells clear. At that time, in second response, they impose a cytotoxic action. So they are also being employed in immunotherapy, gamma delta T cells. They are capable of recognizing and lysing diverse cancer in MHC unrestricted manner, highlighting their potential in the pan population immunotherapy in contrast to the MHC restricted alpha beta T cell receptor mediated immunotherapy. In the clinical trials, also the different type of T cells expressing B gamma 9 and B delta 2 cells have been found to show a good response in it, and the potential of this gamma delta T cells for the pan population immunotherapy is being evaluated currently in clinical trials also by using different substrates. So the conclusion for this gamma delta T cell is this: they can undergo functional programming in thymus. They show extensive functional plasticity. They can sense the cellular stress induced by different kind of stimuli. They can contribute to different stages of inflammatory immune response. They are help in assisting and modulating both adaptive and innate immune responses, and they can help in immunotherapy also because they are being employed in treating various cancer and chronic viral infections. These are the few MCQs pertaining to this complete lecture, that what are T cell receptors, what are B cell receptors, what are the genetic arrangements due to which different type of T cell receptors are being rearranged, how the alpha beta T cell receptor is being expressed, how which kind of cytokines are basically being expressed by these receptors. These are uploaded onto the LMS, and thank you so much for listening.